Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tider Insider TV alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm WVUA Sports Director Gary Harris. Our show presented, as always, by Buffalo Rock Bottling Company, bottlers of great Pepsi products like Diet Pepsi, and I think I got this one just perfect tonight.
It's frozen. Mine's frozen.
Just a little bit of ice.
Oh.
Just a little bit. That's the way I like it. Keeps it that way it stays cold through the entire show. See, it's all planned out, Rodney. That is good. Remember, when you're at your grocery store, pick up some Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Pepsi Next, Pepsi Max, or any other great Pepsi product. They will go down nice and smooth. All right, Rod, a lot to get to, and the news of the day really concerns Alabama going back to work for the first time since prior to the SEC championship game. Let's go out to the Thomas Drew Fields this afternoon. Alabama just wrapping up practice a short time ago. We're going to watch A.J. McCarron handing off to Eddie Lacy, and, of course, Blake Sims working with T.J. Yeldon, Kenyon Drake, and Phillip Ely, the quarterbacks and running backs, working on timing because, really, when you haven't been on the field for 2.5 weeks, timing's very important to get that back and get into a rhythm.
It is, Gary. It certainly is. There's no doubt about that. And again, but I do think certainly the rest has been very big for this team. I think it's going to be crucial in terms of allowing some of the guys who've been injured an opportunity to get better.
All right, as we continue to watch a little video, there's some news right there that we've talked about a lot on the sports. You talked about it on your site. Jeremy Pruitt, nothing official, but the Alabama secondary coach expected to be named the defensive coordinator at Florida State. He is going to coach through the bowl games, done a good job at Alabama, and that's one reason he's going to get this promotion down in Tallahassee with Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, very interesting move there, given the fact that Gary just, 4 years ago, he never really had been an assistant on this level. Now within 3 years here at Alabama, all of a sudden he's going to become the FSU defensive coordinator, very prominent position, especially for a guy that really is not that experienced. But I think, again, when you're talking about having the opportunity to coach for Nick Saban, the experience that you gain, the way people see that, the perception they have, it certainly allows you an opportunity to move on to bigger and better things.
Also, reports indicate that one of my favorite people, Sal Sinceri, after 1 year as the defensive coordinator at Tennessee, former Bama assistant, will also be joining that FSU staff in Tallahassee as an assistant. All right, Rodney, let's get back to the practice. There's going to be 11 practices here in Tuscaloosa, the final one coming the morning of January 2nd. Following that practice, Alabama will fly down to Miami. They'll have 4 practices down in South Florida prior to the game on January 7th. But we know this, even though it's a national championship game and that's the focus, these early practices during bowl weeks, even with a game that large, is also an opportunity to work some of the young guys and do some other things other than just prepare for Notre Dame, which is the focus. I want to make that clear. But talk about these practices, and particularly here in Tuscaloosa, these 11 practices, what all they're trying to get accomplished.
Well, I think, first of all, Gary, what they're going to do is, as they always do, it's a plan that they've kind of had in place the last few years, an opportunity to go through the practices. This is something that not every school has done. So
right.
The experience that Alabama has is very valuable from the last 2 championship games, but it gives them an opportunity to not only, as you mentioned, work younger players, but they go back to the fundamentals initially, and they kind of brush up on those, and they do those kinds of things. And then as time goes on, they'll start preparing for Notre Dame more. Nick Saban does not like to get into preparation for a particular game too early.
Right.
He thinks you can overdo it.
Right.
So, you're probably talking the last week and a half, maybe 10 practices or whatever. Maybe they start honing in a little bit more on what they're going to do in terms of a game plan, but especially start buckling down that last week.
Well, you certainly can't question Coach Saban. He's 3-0 in BCS National Championship games, so his formula works. A little different formula at Notre Dame. They've already held several practices. Head coach Brian Kelly held a press conference on Monday morning in South Bend to talk about the upcoming matchup against the Crimson Tide in the Discover BCS Championship game on January 7th in Miami. After 2 very average seasons under Kelly, the Fighting Irish got it done in 2012, going 12-0. Kelly said yesterday that this year's success has as much to do with what happened off the field as on it.
All of our players know, as well as our coaches, what we had to sacrifice to get to this point. And I've said this a number of times. What we've done this year more than anything else is that, our guys care about each other. I don't want to say they hang out together, every one of them, and that they love each other. but they really care about each other. When you care about each other, you have a chance to be a good football team. And that came together this year. They care about each other in the locker room, and then they learned how to play the game the right way. And those two things came together. So there's a lot of pride because there's a lot of work behind the scenes that go to those two things in particular. And that is guys caring about each other and playing the game the right way.
And Notre Dame's success offensively against Alabama will hinge greatly on the play of improved sophomore quarterback Everett Golson. Bama has one of the best run defenses in the country. So Coach Kelly knows that Golson is going to have to be able to make some plays in the passing game in order for the Irish to move the football against the Tide.
We're not going to be able to run it at will against the defense that we're going to see in Alabama. We're going to have to throw the football. We're going to have to find some big chunk plays, and he's going to have to be integral in that. And he knows that. We know that. I think Alabama knows that too. He's got to be a guy that creates some plays for us at the quarterback position.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Golson. Obviously, Notre Dame needs him to play well, although they do have Tommy Rees, who's kind of their closer out of the bullpen, if you will, particularly early in the year. They came to him a lot. But he needs to be successful for Notre Dame. He is an athletic guy that can use his feet and throw it pretty well. Meanwhile, Alabama needs to keep him in check because we've seen when a quarterback goes off, like Aaron Murray did, Alabama won that one, but he had big numbers. And, of course, Johnny Manziel had great numbers, and Alabama lost that game. Talk about Golson versus the Alabama
Well,
defense.
first of all, I like Everett Golson. I've had an opportunity to watch him in several games, Gary, and he's really kind of matured and developed. This is his first year to play, and you know, he's an outstanding athletic guy, but he can also throw. What a lot of people don't know, in high school, he threw 151 touchdown passes. He's not a bad passer. He just lacks experience on this level. But as time has gone on, what they've asked him to do, they hadn't asked him to do a lot. He has to manage the offense and then make throws when he's asked to. And I tell you, in the Oklahoma game, for example, on the road, a game that a lot of people thought Notre Dame would lose, Oklahoma ties the game at 13, and on the next possession, Everett Golson comes out and delivers a 50-yard pass right on the money down the field. Hostile environment for the go-ahead touchdown. I mean, it led to the go-ahead touchdown. So, you know, he's a guy that, again, has just kind of progressed, and I think he's ready for what he's getting ready to face.
It'll be an important matchup in that upcoming game. Well, still to come tonight on Insider TV, Jonathan Cook's performance in the Alabama-Mississippi High School All-Star Game earned him a scholarship offer from the Crimson Tide that he quickly accepted, flipping from Nebraska. We'll have that story. Also, Insider TV will be getting to your phone calls and emails. That's later on in the show, but there's the information on the screen if you want to get in touch with us, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882, or you can email us if you would prefer, TITV@WVUATV.com. Stick around. You're watching the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the award-winning Tider Insider Television. Welcome back to Tider Insider TV. We got some recruiting news coming, but real quickly, or speaking of recruiting, boy, TiderInsider.com is burning it up.
Yeah, we're trying, no doubt, and $48 a year, and not only the recruiting information, but certainly we follow the team, and practice updates and all of those kinds of things, the forum.
Yeah.
A lot of information there that's shared amongst the subscribers, so it's pretty active.
Yeah, pretty good price too, only $4 a month. All right, speaking of recruiting, Alabama gets a commitment from Jonathan Cook following the Alabama-Mississippi High School All-Star Game in Montgomery, which Alabama won, due in large part to Cook. He had a big interception in the end zone when Mississippi was about to score. Thought he was going to take it the distance, got tripped up about the 45-yard line by the Mississippi quarterbacks. You see his height, weight, and Spanish Fort High School is the place. Nebraska, the team that he previously committed to, Rodney. But as we take a look at some video of Cook, courtesy of Game Changers Recruiting Service, and this is also some Mississippi-Alabama All-Star video as well, it's clear to see he's a big-time player.
Instinctive.
Talk about his skills at the corner position.
I just think he's got a lot of good instincts, Gary, for the game. You know, he's played some wide receiver in high school as well, and you know, I think it's a guy that Alabama has really been watching for quite some time, and a lot of schools have offered him recently. Really, to be honest with you, Gary, it's been a situation where he had some academic work to make up, and I think that was one reason some schools were reluctant to recruit him earlier, but I think he's done a very good job in that regard.
Let's be honest, cornerback's a tough spot to play. It takes a special player, especially in a Nick Saban, Kirby Smart defense. You know, I would compare it to some ways to quarterback. You know, there's probably more misses at corner than just about any other position, maybe other than offensive tackle and quarterback. You've already mentioned his skill set, but he seems to me, too, watching him on tape, watching him in that game on Saturday, to be a big game player, a guy that enjoys the moment. And if you're going to be a corner out on an island, you better thrive on competition, and you better thrive on being able to go up against the other team's best wide receiver and shut him down. He seems to have that ability.
He's just, he's really good in coverage. He's not really concerned about, he likes to play man defense, in terms of coverage, and I've talked to him, several times, and that's one of the things he's always talked to me about, was that he really enjoyed playing man, going, being out there, as you said, on an island. He thrives on it, as you said. So, but not only that, he's a good tackler. He's a really good athlete, and he's 6 feet tall. That you don't find a lot of cornerbacks with the ability, a lot of guys with the ability to play corner who are have that kind of height.
So a nice pickup for Alabama, and it's also important, too, how quickly he took that offer. He wanted to play for the Crimson Tide. Nebraska's not, that's a big-time program, but he immediately took the Alabama commitment. All right, news of another commitment. This one is really interesting. Luke Del Rio, quarterback out of Denver, Colorado, formerly played in Jacksonville, Florida. If the name sounds familiar, it should. His dad is Denver Broncos defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, former head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, former great linebacker at USC. Now, Luke was committed to Oklahoma State had a scholarship offer from several other schools. Let's take a little look at some of his video. And Todd Monken, who was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State, who had coached for Del Rio down at Jacksonville, left to go to Southern Miss. Luke decided to open up his recruitment. We will mention that he has a sister here in school at Alabama. But what a big pickup when you get a guy who's got scholarship offers, willing to walk on as a preferred walk-on with a chance to earn a scholarship down the road at the University of Alabama. And he can play. This is Elite 11 video that we're watching.
Yeah, he actually, as you mentioned, Gary, went out to California, participated in that Elite 11, and the Elite 11s that led up to that earned him an opportunity to go to California. He competed against the best quarterbacks in the country, including Cooper Bateman, who is also committed to Alabama. This is a guy that's a scholarship-type quarterback. You mentioned Oklahoma State, he was committed there, had an offer from Oregon State. UCLA was on the verge of offering. Could have gone to a lot of different schools and threw for 2,800 yards, somewhere in there, 27 touchdowns this year, leading his team to the state championship. So, he's a really good player. And certainly you don't get a guy of this caliber to walk on very often.
Just like cornerbacks and offensive tackles, you can't have enough good quarterbacks. This is a nice pickup for Alabama. Well, still to come, Nick Saban says if he had it to do over again, he'd handle his departure from the Miami Dolphins differently. Rodney and I will discuss. And don't forget to give us a shout-out here on the show. Your questions and comments are welcome at 205-348-WVUA. We'll be right back with more Tighter Insider TV right after this. Welcome back. Alongside Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Phone calls and emails in a moment, but first, Nick Saban is going back to Miami, and the media circus is inevitable. It actually kind of kicked off on Monday. Interesting dynamic here, Rodney, because Dan Le Batard, Miami Herald columnist and radio personality and has a show on ESPN, had been one of Saban's harshest critics. I mean, he had held nothing back in blasting Saban in regards to how he left Miami. Well, yesterday on the Dan Le Batard show on 790 AM in Miami, along with Saban's former linebacker Jason Taylor, Le Batard and Taylor interviewed Nick Saban, asked him some light-hearted questions, and then got right to it and asked him point blank if he regretted the way he left Miami for Alabama. Saban acknowledged his conversation with owner Wayne Huizenga, in which he said that leaving was among the hardest things he's ever had to do. You and I both listened to that interview. Great interview, great answers from Nick Saban. Really humanized him, I thought, and I think people got to see him in a different light, that he really did have regret, but he doesn't regret coming to Alabama. I thought it was a really good interview. Talk about what Saban had to say.
Well, first of all, we've had an opportunity here to hear many of those comments before, but he kind of expounded on those, but saying that, he really didn't like or regretted the way he left or handled his leaving from Miami, but at the same time, he said, where he came, Alabama has been great for him and his family, and that he's happy here, and he really enjoys working with, college kids, helping them develop both as players and as people.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt he is very happy at Alabama. He made that clear again yesterday, but of course rumors continue to persist in NFL cities, namely Cleveland, Ohio, that Nick Saban might be entertaining going back to the NFL. We'll just have to wait and see. He says he's happy. His wife, Terry, says she's happy. His son is married and living in Tuscaloosa. His daughter is a student at UA. It would take a lot for him to leave, in my opinion. All right, Rodney, let's take some phone calls. First up, our buddy Joseph here in Tuscaloosa. Joseph, what's up?
Gary, Rodney, what's up, partner? How you feeling?
Hey,
Oh, man,
Joseph.
feeling great, bro.
Yeah, but on January the 7th, the national championship, will Alabama play their best football?
Well, Joseph, that's the goal of both teams. Rodney kind of alluded to this earlier. Nothing against Brian Kelly. He's a great football coach. He's never prepared for a national championship game. Nick Saban's done this 3 times, Joseph. He's tweaked it each time to a system now that I think they're very comfortable with. Everything designed to do exactly what you alluded to, which is play your best football in that stage. We saw it last year when they manhandled LSU physically and also out-prepared the Bayou Bengals. So, Rodney, I'm very optimistic that Alabama will play very, very well on January 7th.
Well, let me say this. I think Joseph's question is great, and I'll tell you why. Because in the big games this year, Texas A&M, LSU, and Georgia, in some ways, Alabama hasn't played their best football.
Right.
They've turned the football over more. You can't miss open receivers for touchdowns. You can't turn the football over. You can't have kicks blocked and returned for touchdowns. If you do that against Notre Dame, they're probably going to beat you. And I'll tell you why, because they are so solid. Gary, they don't make many mistakes. They're not flashy, but they don't make mistakes.
One thing, Rodney, the layoff, though, has been so beneficial. Other than the bowl game against Utah in the Sugar Bowl, Nick Saban's won every bowl game he's coached at Alabama, and usually they've gotten off to great starts in those bowl games, much like they have early season games. And to some degree, this is very similar to a first game of the season because of the long layoff. Alabama has shown well in those type of scenarios in the past.
Yeah, and again, I think both teams are going to be extremely well prepared. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Alabama's going to blow them out. A lot of fans kind of seem to have that feeling, but I think both teams are going to play extremely well.
I do, too. It's going to be a great game. And let me tell you what, the media barrage is second to none. I know because I'm trying to, we're trying to get in the media hotel down there, and it's already full. All right, the LD from center, stay on hold. We got to take a timeout. We'll get to you first up when we come back after the break with more Tighter Insider TV right after this. Let's get right back to the phone calls. LD has been waiting patiently in center to talk to us. LD, it's your time. What's up?
Nothing much. With this new quarterback coming in, I was wondering how many they're going to have on scholarship signed when they have signing day. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, LD.
Well, they have 4 now. They have 4, and then they're going to sign 2 more, so that would give them 6 on scholarship, and then
Luke Del Rio
would be a 7th quarterback, but again, he would be a walk-on, but you also have to consider, LD, when you really look at it, that A.J. McCarron will be entering his senior year, so he will be gone after that. And you generally want to have at least a minimum of 4.
Right.
Most programs like to have 5.
All right, thanks for the phone call there in center. Let's go to Saginaw and talk to William. William, welcome into the show.
Hey, good evening, Gary and Rodney.
Hey, buddy.
I was just wondering the status of Barrett Jones and Jesse Williams, and if Barrett Jones could not go, who would be his backup?
All right, good questions. And first, on Barrett Jones, he's dealing with a foot issue. There's no doubt about it. Been resting. Our anticipation is that he'll go. If he can't, Chad Kelly's the backup center.
Well, first of all, I was out at practice today, and he was riding the bike, stationary bike, doing interval work, meaning a mixture of high and low intensity work, and he seemed to be doing fine. Did have a cast-type wrap on that left lower leg, and I think he'll play. I think he'll be ready. I just think he needs a little time away to continue to recover. Now, if he doesn't, if he's not, Ryan Kelly, the redshirt freshman, was working with the first team today. Chad Lindsey is also in there, but he's also working at left guard. But those 2 guys right now. But again, I think Barrett will be ready.
And the great thing about Barrett Jones is mentally he'll be ready. So physically, as long as he can just get back, even a few days before the game, he'll be good to go. As far as Jesse Williams is concerned, the nose tackle, we're expecting him to be full
and I forgot that question, but he was participating in drills today.
All right, let's get to an email, Rodney. An important email too. Speaking of injuries, this one is about Kenny Bell, and yes, there is a chance that Kenny Bell is going to be able to come back and play in this game, Rodney. What are you hearing?
Well, there's a chance, and he was on the bike too, also doing that interval work today. And Gary, I mean, when you have a rod put in your leg and you expect to play 5 or 6 weeks later, I mean, we'll see. I know that Nick Saban said, I think post-practice, a little bit that we've picked up on since we've been here in the studio is that Nick Saban said he's been cleared for some activity. So we'll see. Hopefully he is ready. I mean.
All right, we'll be back to wrap it up, and may try to squeeze in one more email real quick when we get back. Stay with us. You're watching Tighter Insider TV. Want to get one more email in from Brad in Tuscaloosa in regards to Brandon Hill, offensive tackle out of Hargrave Prep that signed with Alabama last year. We don't talk too much about other schools in terms of recruiting until the player is actually committed to Alabama, but this is a guy that, yes, Alabama's actively recruiting him. They signed him last year, and it looks as though the Tide is in good shape with Brandon Hill right now. Mammoth offensive tackle.
Yeah, very big, huge.
But maybe
but
a
anyway,
little too big at this point, Ronnie.
Yeah, I think, Brad, you know, your wishes for Brandon Hill will probably come true.
All right. Thanks for the emails and the phone calls. It's time to talk about some business that we enjoy talking about. That's these beautiful shirts, and in your case, a tie that we have on from the locker room, the original elephant wear, those beautiful elephants with the green eyes. It's taken Alabama by storm, and the locker room has been a Tuscaloosa tradition since 1964. How do you stay in business that long, Rodney? Well, you have great service and great quality men's clothing like original elephant wear. Go by and see Mr. Gatewood and Rush and the guys there at the locker room, or you can check them out on the web as well, www.locker-room.biz. It is the locker room. Get you some of this original elephant wear and enjoy the Tide. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's program. We will have this posted on our website a little bit later at WVUATV.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Next week will be Christmas. We will not be here with you next week. No Tide or Insider TV next week. We're going to take the day off for Christmas. I think everybody
We do have to have a preview show. Though.
Yeah, we'll have a preview show prior to the national championship game, so don't worry about that. But no TITV next week. So for Rodney, I'm Gary. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good evening.